What up, brother?
Man, it's good. Good?
Good, bro. What's up, bro?
Shit, how you
Hello,
doing?
my man. This is great. What's up, fellas? Down here in Miami with you boys. Thank you guys for being here. We're getting ready to have a conversation about a program that's near and dear to all three of you's heart. Obviously, Uncle Luke, you started the Warriors of Liberty City, so I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's your first memory of Liberty City? What do you first remember about playing football?
It was a joy for me. It was a joy just to be able to play with the young bulls I grew up with, you know, in the area. You didn't have to venture out. And at that time, there was nowhere for us to go. And we all had to be on the outskirts when it came to playing a competitive sport.
I grew up loving Uncle Luke, but the Two Live Crew, Doo-Doo Brown Uncle Luke. That's the version of Uncle Luke I knew. What made you go from that Uncle Luke to running Liberty City?
Well, for me, playing organized football, I had to go all the way to Miami Beach to play, and I played for Noah Optimist.
When you were a kid?
When I was a kid. So I always said if I ever get 2 cents over my lunch money, me and my homeboys, we wouldn't have to go all the way over there to play ball. And when I live right around the corner from Hadley Park, well, I always wanted to do football out there, because I always had a field and everything kids would be playing. So we basically started it from that point on.
But you put $100,000 into this program. What made you really feel that, like, I got to donate not only my time, but my money and put all that I have into it?
I thought it was important to give back because when we traveled to Miami Beach to play football, we would get home 12 o'clock at night. I just wanted every one of these kids to be able to stay in that neighborhood and play with their homeboy who lived next door to them.
I need leaders to be fucking leaders, man. Not crybabies, man.
In that neighborhood with all that talent, and there was nowhere for y'all to play. It was nothing, because the parks were there, right?
Yeah.
So what was going on in the parks?
Everybody swimming. Everything we did really wasn't based in a structured environment.
Yeah.
We throw up tackle in the street. Stop when the car come. Everybody got to freeze. That's what we doing.
Everybody stand on the sides of you play.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Then you have people like Luke come along and see that vision. It took people like him to see it. Giving us an outlet. You had 2 ways to go back then. Either going left or you going right. There ain't no in between. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And once we had that outlet, man, if you was disciplined and had the right people in your corner, man, the sky was the limit.
And obviously, all the kids in Liberty City are going through, a lot of them, their father figures are the people at the park. Was that a part of starting it too?
That was one of the main parts of it, because when you look at the areas, mostly single-parent household situations. A lot of the kids come from pork and bean. A lot of kids was coming from the Scott, because at that time...
There was the projects around the park, right?
It was amazing.
Is Liberty City, is it one project that come to Liberty, that play at the park, or is it a couple projects?
You have Liberty City, and you have different areas.
Of Liberty City. There's a bunch of neighborhoods that come to the park.
Yeah.
Got it, and that all filters into the park, so the park must have been flooded.
The park was the middle.
It was flooded with kids.
Yeah, flooded.
I got a question. This is dope. It's been 30 years, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm curious to know, why are we just being able to tell our story and our background, like, now?
Evan, who created the show, and the filmmaker, him and Uncle Luke, hooked up and got to know each other doing the U. Evan really, he's a brilliant filmmaker and storyteller, recognized this is a story that needed to be told. Evan, seeing what was going on at Liberty City, like out of nowhere, Uncle Luke kind of built this program, and now it is one of the most recognized youth football programs in America, producing some of the greatest players we've ever seen play this sport. This is a story that hits home for LeBron and I, because it's like, that's us. If we were, Liberty City looks just like the place where we grew up playing. We need to see stories that represent hope for us and people that look like us in our community. A story about people helping each other through the lens of football. Football is just a vehicle. And I think the story that is really about a program, about a man who figured a way out of the neighborhood but came back. So I think that's why it's more relevant than ever now, because we need these stories, these human stories about hope.
So if you had to pick some of the characters in there, which character you would relate more to?
I really related to George and his son. Felt like me and my dad when I first started. As I said, my dad then went to jail. Like one of the characters in the show who had to spend time talking to his dad on the phone. I remember those days when the stories really hit home, and we felt like this is a story that the world needed to see. and stars felt the same. And you, Chad, every summer you felt like in the off season, you came back and spent time with your grandmother. Why was that important to you to come back and be around?
That was all I knew. My grandfather died in '94 when I was in high school. My grandma raised me. My dad was never around. When I got drafted, all I knew was that house on 44 in the 40s. I stayed with my grandma well into my 4th year in the league.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
4th year in the league, you
What?
still staying with your grandmother?
Man, I was cheap. Why I ain't play? Listen, I didn't play. I hit that 4th year and I started coming to my own at that level. Then I was forced into responsibility, getting my own place. You know, you got kids, you got responsibility. So that's where everything kicked in. Gave back to the programs, did as much as I could.
Uncle Luke, what else does it mean to the families and to the kids that are playing? Like, because it's obviously more than football.
It's a family, you know, just like Chad say, you know, and they were just talking in the hallway about Chad coming back when he was a kid, going out there, you know, with the little kids, you know, and just going full speed against them.
Every time.
You know, just giving them
You going
business.
full speed.
Full
He
speed.
11 years old, he breaking us down.
Full speed.
Full speed. And probably talking shit, too.
Yeah, like next.
Exactly.
It's a big family. It's generation after generation after generation. His generation being the first generation, Chad and Edie Bo and a lot of the kids that's now adults working at the park, you know, right now, and then his generation and Duke's generation.
It's funny because football, for us, and whether it's football and basketball too, we always see it as a way out. The other thing people are missing, it's not this is the only way I'm gonna make money, but also it's a way out of whatever situation I might be dealing with at home. I get to go to the park and be around my people who are like my family too, filling the void that's like family too.
They always throw the money aspect is we focus on playing this sport to get to the next level, but you have to understand, when you're young, you ain't thinking about no money, man.
Exactly.
You're doing what you love to do, and that's that outlet, that's that sense of peace, even if you don't understand peace, a peace of mind.
Yep.
Man, as 11, 12, your mama screaming at you, come pick, like when you hit that field, man, nothing matters.
When you're an athlete, you watch kids, you just see the joy and the love of playing a sport. Nothing else matters. And then once you ascend to a level like you did, you become famous. And you actually did well with the fame and liked it, enjoyed it, but athletes don't go into sport to be famous.
No.
It just happens. Athletes is just like, I just love to play. It's just like, this is family. And when you watch the kids at Liberty City and you watch the show, you really get that feeling of like, that's family.
I just had fun.
Yep.
I ain't care nothing about the business side of nothing. So I get to the highest level, the NFL, and they're complaining about my style of play.
Yeah.
My style of play is because of that man right there. So if you want to find me, you find Luke. If you want to find me, you find Dennis Erickson and Jimmy Johnson and all the Hurricanes of the '90s that I grew up watching.
That's
That's where that came from. That's all it was.
It's at Liberty City swag.
And at Liberty
all
City,
of them talk trash. Trust me.
Everybody
trash
like
talker,
that.
trash talker,
Everybody's
you
like
name
that.
it.
And I just got to that level and chose not to change and conform to what they felt I should be like.
Exactly.
That's all.
Exactly.
Oh, he's a diva. He's arrogant. Nah, that's my
style.
environment.
Yeah, that's how I
That's
am.
what I come from.
Yeah. Playing with the flair, playing with the style, talking trash, having fun.
You play at Liberty City, you automatically is a trash talker.
The program at Liberty City represents, for me, what really caught me is it represents hope. Like, forget the football, forget the money, because I'm a true believer that hope will police people better than any other human can police anyone else. There's a chance I could do something great with my life, it'll stop you. Uncle Luke, how much hope does the program represent for the community of Liberty City?
Oh, it's all the hope in the world. I mean, because just like I say, it's bigger than just football. You know, it's father figures, it's mother figures. You know, you got seniors out there mentoring mothers, but it's a family. Like I say, it's bigger than just sports.
It's not just about little black boys playing football, it's about the community.
Yeah, it's totally about the community. As a parent, when you know you could drop your kids somewhere and you know they're gonna be all right,
Yeah.
that's a safe haven.
Yeah.
They love it. You know, grandmothers, mothers, you know, they can go about their day and just know that those kids are gonna be safe.
And that hope kicks in, and you
hope kicks
understand, looking at Devonta, you know what's on the back end.
Exactly.
That
You got a shot.
sacrifice. You got a shot.
That hope is what is really all about. That's the best thing you can give people is hope. I grew up in a small city called Akron. I'm from the north side. Sports was the first time I seen any other even part of Ohio. Like I had never, if it wasn't for sport, I might have never saw outside of 6 blocks before I was 7 or 8 years old. So I'm sure it's the same. Those kids, oh shit, it's a big world out there. It's like other people doing, you know, it's people doing successful things. And football, it gives you that structure and it gives you that way to go see other parts of, whether it's just South Florida, traveling around playing other teams.
So that's one thing that stuck with me. I was like 10, 11, and 12. We used to always go to the national championship, and it was hosted in Orlando. And, you know, we see like Mickey Mouse and Nickelodeon, all that stuff, and we like, dang, like we never really been outside of 79th Street.
Exactly,
you know,
yeah,
in
yeah.
Miami.
Yeah.
You know, it was 46 to 79th.
That's it.
That's
30
it.
blocks, that's all you're gonna see.
That's all you get.
And change your whole
Change the
view,
whole
view of the
of
world,
life,
right?
like-
Because you say in Orlando, you might as well be saying Hong Kong.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
close.
right.
It's
It's
like,
real
you know, a
close.
couple hours. But for you,
It felt like
when you
Hong
only
Kong.
see 30 blocks, an hour away might as well be
That was big.
the moon.
that was
You know what I
big.
mean?
That
It
was
changed the
big.
whole way you see the world.
Yeah.
The kids who come up in Liberty City program, what high schools did they go to?
Jackson, Central, the West, Booker T.
And which one did you went to Central?
I went to Central,
To Central.
Yeah.
And your rivalry is Northwestern.
Northwestern. Yeah.
Tell me, what is that rivalry like?
That was crazy. It's like U1 playing Florida State, you know, only for like the city, like
Of course,
a small
yeah,
version,
I get
little
it.
scale.
Been playing against each other, with each other since you was kids.
Yeah, but we don't be friends on the field.
Yeah, I
like,
mean, of
we
course
go
not.
at it. Like,
Yeah.
it was real serious. It was competitive. After that, though, you was like a mini celebrity. You a mini celebrity from 46 to 79.
Ready? So. Ernest, you got a post. Ready, come on.
It no matter what kind of crime that was going on, it would be sacred ground out there. You know, it's still to this day right now, no crime at all.
Everything stops for football.
Shut down.
Everything stopped
Yeah.
for football.
Nothing.
That's because they know that's important to the community.
Yeah,
They know
police
how
love
important-
when football season comes.
Because the crime slowed down, because everybody go watch football.
Yeah, you at the park. You got to know what just happened at the park.
Exactly, exactly.
And you don't go out there with the riffraff.
Yeah.
You know, if you got beef, you know, you leave that beef to the neighborhood.
The other thing that made me love this story is, and super relatable for me, obviously, is like watching the fathers who are involved, because, you know, for us as black men, it's like that feeling of like knowing whether you have a father or not, that there are men that care for you as a young man is a big thing. I have a son. I think you got a son too, right, Chad? How's your
16 and 8.
You went on to be a pro player, obviously made money. So you can't raise your sons exactly how you were raised, but how do you give them some of that feeling still, even though they're growing up different than you did?
More so hard, tough love.
Yeah.
I'm doing tough love.
tough
My
love.
son is at an age now to where when he trained with me. Both of them. So everything they do, I just mimic all the stuff I did, and we operate that way. As a father, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I miss a chunk of their lives because of football. And when it was off season, I was still focused on football. I'm still learning, and I'm 40. Actually, I'm 50. You gotta add 10 years because all the wear and tear. But I'm still learning, so I'm doing the best I can as a dad.
And so you giving them some of what you learned at the park.
Yeah, I don't force anything.
You
I
just
would
did
never
it.
force my kids to do anything they don't want to do. They found what they love, and I just let it rock.
Down. Sit. Hut.
The best thing about sports, when they tap you on the shoulder and say, let's go practice.
Yeah.
You know, that's when you know that they want to do that.
You and Free obviously have a relationship going back for a long time. When he first came to the park, what was he like? He's no longer just a football player, he's a professional football player.
You know, he was playing baseball for a program called Mo Park. And Coach Sam, you know, the other co-founder of the program, he was like, man, you gotta come out and check this kid out. You know, he talks enough trash to be a part of our program. And he was talking trash to all our batters that was coming up. And, you know, we basically said, hey, look, you wanna come play football over here for us? And at that point, he was like, you know, yeah. He just was always a good-hearted, genuine kid, like my son, just like all the rest of them are my kids.
And Free, from your standpoint, what was it like when you first met Uncle Luke?
I ain't expect him to know as much football that he knew.
You didn't think he was gonna be serious about it?
Yeah, I didn't know he was gonna be serious based
That's
on like
interesting.
his career. You know, you got a celebrity coming back giving to kids in the program. My aunties and stuff, they're like, you don't even know your coach like that. As I got older and stuff, you know, like we grew, I just always wanted the information. I wanted someone to look up to and someone to inspire me.
You talk trash, you have fun, but you were a professional. You showed up to practice every day.
Yeah.
You kept yourself in shape.
That's automatic.
Yeah.
You don't get to that level without that discipline of doing the small, basic things you just named.
Yeah.
But then I needed that extra edge to keep myself motivated, to keep me going. So the trash talking turned from having fun as a kid to using it as a motivation tool once I was at the highest level, which they didn't understand. You know, they felt it was a distraction.
You gotta continue to find little things that I need to be faster, I need to eat better, sleep better.
Yeah.
You know, now I feel like I'm growing to a pro.
To be a real pro.
To be a real pro, like
Exactly.
sleep,
Which
diet.
is a thing, yeah, that's a real
little
thing.
things like that. The next 5 years, my goal is to be more explosive than I was my first 4 years.
Be a pro.
Being
be
a pro, always. You never know who watching.
Yeah.
You know, people don't think people who come from places like Liberty City can become a pro, and that must be super rewarding for you.
No, it's crazy rewarding for me because when you're on a hip hop record label in Miami in the 80s, there's no such thing. You know, when we look at, you know, the things that you guys are doing, you know, they keep that circle, but then they keep the independence of, okay, we could do this together. Those are things that make me proud. You know what I'm saying? That they don't find new friends.
Exactly.
You know, and they empower those guys. That's what makes me proud.
That was an important word that you used that last time you talked about was empowerment. And I think what you did with creating Liberty City, that's the thing that connected to me. And I think when you talk about what LeBron and I have done, that's the thing that I always say is as impressive as a basketball career LeBron is having and has had to this point, what's more impressive is how he empowers people. You've empowered a whole city, a whole neighborhood of men and young boys to become young men, young ladies to become women. When people watch Warriors of Liberty City who are from other cities around the country will understand what it means to empower people. So how do we keep helping people that grow up like us? How do we keep helping them?
Like this, pieces like this.
Yeah.
You know, the exposure, allowing the kids to see that, okay, if they did it from there, and I can relate to that, and I come from the same single-parent home, you know, they see, wait a minute. You mean Devonta had the same struggles and he playing on Sundays at 1 o'clock? This is a social media era. The stuff that we're doing like this, allowing people to see stuff that they can relate to all over the world,
Yep.
There's a way. There's always hope.
Going back, giving our time, even if it's 30, 40 minutes out the day, and just sharing our stories and just being there for the kids.
And I tell them all the time, just go back to the program, reach out, have a conversation, FaceTime a kid.
Yep.
You know, be in their life. The information I got, the information they have, the information you have is worth millions because you can reach and touch individuals and they're inspired to be better young men. And you'll see it. You know, you see him at 8 years old, you know, and he's running around, you know, and with his little friends, and then you give him the information. You know, as he grows on, he can only take so much information, you know, and now they become responsible and respectable young men.
That's paying it forward. I gotta tell you, Uncle Luke, when I watched the show that we created, I'm not even from Liberty City, obviously, but when I watch it, I connect to it in a way. A, because it feels just exactly like where I'm from, and the story is so intimate, and the characters are such great humans that I really feel like I'm a part of it. So I want to thank you for creating the program, even though I never played in it, but I feel like I'm a part of it after watching the series.
Everybody's a part of it. Thank God you guys decided to put it on. With this piece, everybody will be able to relate to each individual, just like you can relate to the characters in there.
Appreciate it. Want to thank all you guys for doing this. Appreciate it.
No doubt. Thank you.
Thank you, man.